Hello and welcome to another edition of Honeycomb Digital Investments, the Regulatory Buzz. My name is Baxter Hines. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Honeycomb Digital, and I have the pleasure of being joined today by Professor Carol Goforth of the University of Arkansas. Hello, Carol.
Hello. Great to be here.
Really glad to have you here. Wanted to focus today on a piece of news that came out at the end of January, where the SEC made a notice to propose new rulemaking that could have profound implications on crypto markets. It looks like they're looking to put out a 30-day period for comments for this proposal, and while the language of this notification did not specifically mention digital assets, it seems like there might be some hints that that's exactly what this whole shebang is about. So wanted to get your comments and just see what you think are going to be the ramifications.
Sure. On January 26th, the SEC published this notice that ostensibly is designed to bring Treasury market securities, Treasury markets into regulation ATS, which is one of the exemptions from registration that is available for securities exchanges. And as you've mentioned, nowhere in the title, nowhere in the document, which, by the way, is 642 pages long, is there any reference to digital assets or cryptocurrency or Bitcoin? But included in those provisions is a proposed amendment to the regulatory definition of exchange. Now, the Securities Exchange Act of 1934 says that if you are going to have a trading facility that brings together buyers and sellers of securities, it has to be registered with the SEC. And that is a time-consuming and extremely expensive, cumbersome process. I know that for years the SEC has been saying that they want to include crypto markets in that registration process, and they have been frustrated that there are so few exchanges that are in fact registered or exempt under something like regulation ATS. But this is really kind of playing hard and fast with the rules, because buried in this 642-page document is a provision that would amend the regulatory definition of an exchange to include anyone who makes available, not just who operates or maintains, but anyone who makes available not only trading facilities, but communication protocols, computer platforms. And a computer platform that brings together buyers and sellers of securities. If you are on record as saying that virtually every crypto asset is a security, which the chairman of our SEC has said multiple times recently, it's hard to see this as anything other than an attempt to clarify by regulation a rule that does not appear to be anywhere as clear under the statute itself. The statute doesn't mention communication protocols, doesn't mention protocols. It talks about trading facilities, and it doesn't talk about making available as the standard. It talks about operating them and maintaining these trading facilities. And one of the problems is this 30-day period for notice and comment, which is relatively abbreviated, especially for a document that has this potential for sweeping changes to the authority of the SEC. And even though it doesn't mention crypto, I sure hope the crypto community and crypto exchanges are paying really close attention and are working on replying to this, because I think this is an example of regulatory overreach, and I think it's unfortunate.
Well, it definitely got picked up in the media, and there were a lot of high-profile people, including some of the other members of the SEC, who expressed their concerns about this sort of vague but yet sweeping, broad language that was put out. It's left a lot of people wondering, what is going to happen next? And so how do you think this unfolds, and how do you think that the markets and people who are developing infrastructure on using blockchain technology will react?
There was really the only person who said anything publicly that's questioning this notice of rulemaking was Commissioner Hester Peirce, who again commented on how short the 30-day notice period was for something of this magnitude. And I agree that I've seen this mentioned several times as an issue that folks should be aware of. But the reality is, I think when you get the notice of proposed rulemaking in this form, it's a pretty clear indication is this is the direction a majority, at least, of the SEC commissioners want the commission to take. And you've certainly had multiple comments from Gary Gensler that he hopes that this is the year to bring crypto exchanges under the umbrella. He's very concerned about the fraud that goes on. He's very concerned about the lack of appropriate regulation. He's concerned about the market impacts. We really can't wait. It is essential that we move forward. Virtually all of these exchanges are trading in some form of crypto that is a security. So you have a very strong indication that they want to do this. If they go ahead and pass this rule, the result is likely to be that they will have to pick one or more exchanges as targets and bring an enforcement action, forcing the exchange to defend against a very well-funded agency. And if they pick an exchange that is located elsewhere, the incentive for the exchange to stay elsewhere, okay, fine, seize my $2 million from my American bank accounts, I'll just stop doing business in the U.S. I don't think that's a positive thing. And even less positive would be for them then to go after an exchange that really has tried to be compliant with the statutory requirements, particularly DeFi exchanges that really are computer protocols. And it would be, horrifying as a computer programmer to find, hey, you made available this computer trading platform. You are required to register. You are in violation of the securities laws. Because to ask someone like that to stand up and defend against the SEC is an unfair burden, and may not lead to the best possible outcomes if you do go to litigation.
Well, I can tell you, we're part of an industry working group that wrote a very strong letter that got a lot of high-profile people in the crypto industry to sign, saying that they were concerned about this, and other well-known public figures, including Mark Cuban, actually signed it and sent it back to the SEC. So it got some people's attention, and hopefully, the community's voice will be heard, as we saw last year with the spending bill that was going through Congress, how these brokers were going to be defined potentially. Members of Congress got a lot of blowback from their constituents. Something like 50,000 people called their member of Congress. So there is attention being put on this stuff. I
know, but with those 40,000 comments, you know what got put in the bill that was adopted? That same definition. And I think that the best possible outcome would be for there to be enough of an objection and to be expressed clearly and strongly enough to at least sway the SEC away from this direction. I don't know how much pressure that will take, because I think there's very clear indication that this is what they want to do. And they're not acting in bad faith. I'm not saying that the SEC is, completely bonkers and crazy and unjustified. They are legitimately concerned about problems posed by unregulated exchanges. So the need for some regulatory clarity, some oversight is legitimate. I just am not convinced that the statutory authorization is broad enough so that the SEC should be doing this, nor do I personally believe that the SEC is the ideal regulator.
And this may be one of many things that just forces to a head Congress to pass some new legislation. It is amazing that we're still using acts that were passed in the 1930s and the 1940s, and now here we are using new technologies, and even the word computer wasn't even in anyone's vocabulary when they passed those.
Absolutely.
So there needs to be some reforms, and we will see. Here we are.
We will see.
First week in February. We've got a long ways to go in the year, and it'll be exciting to see how everything comes about.
I absolutely agree.
Well, thanks so much for being here today, Carol. We really appreciate it and look forward to seeing you next time.
Absolutely.
See you next go round. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.